Alex Hormozi. He has quickly risen as YouTube's most famous business personalities. He's notorious for not selling anything, eating Chipotle, and being the $100 million man. In this video, I'm going to share the 7 business hacks Alex Hormozi shares that skyrocketed his $100 million business. And you'll want to stick around to the end because I share a bonus lesson that I think you guys will find extremely valuable. And if you listen and follow the steps along, they can 10x your business as well. Really quickly, my name is Aron Zapatero and I'm a 20-year-old entrepreneur, and last year I averaged just over $50,000 per month in income. My goal is to help young entrepreneurs start or grow their business by sharing some of the lessons that I've learned. Let's get back into the video. Lesson number 1, ask stupid questions. So what's a stupid question? Batman versus Iron Man? Obviously Iron Man. No, but seriously, just for clarity, I'll rephrase this to ask stupid, relevant questions. The main point of this lesson is to get over the fear of asking questions, even if you think it's a dumb one. And the biggest reason that people are afraid or fearful of asking questions is because of how people will perceive them. They don't want to appear ignorant or uninformed, and sometimes this is very valid. But you need to realize that asking questions is a sign of humility, and no one is expected to know everything. And so you need to get rid of this sort of spotlight effect and realize that by asking stupid questions, you can gain knowledge and gain clarity, and in the end, make better decisions. And if you're working with employees, co-workers, contractors, you can dramatically reduce the amount of mistakes that happen simply by asking dumb questions. And less mistakes means more money. So if you're worried about asking dumb questions, remember that the only thing at risk is your ego, and the potential rewards of gaining knowledge, understanding, and clarity, which therefore saves you money, far outweighs any potential embarrassment that might happen. Lesson number 2.
Money loves speed, wealth loves time, poverty loves indecision.
Money is made using speed. Opportunities don't wait, they are taken, and they're taken quickly by those who can act quickly. Some of the most well-known entrepreneurs created their riches by acting quickly on trends. In 2004, while Mark Zuckerberg was still a college student at Harvard, at the time there were already other websites for social networking. But Zuckerberg saw an opportunity. He visioned a platform that would be more user-friendly and had more privacy controls than its competitors. He saw the opportunity for social networking to become something global. He never waited. He took his opportunity because he knew that if he had waited, someone else would have taken that. He built Facebook with speed. Wealth, however, cannot be built with speed. Wealth is made by investing your earned riches into a vehicle through which time can operate forever without the constant need for your inputs. But poverty is doing neither of these two things. When you're indecisive, you miss out on all the opportunities in the world, and you make bad decisions due to lack of action. You may have done all the research in the world and know the exact next steps that you need to take, but you just know several routes and you can't decide which one to go for. And being in this position is extremely dreadful because you're full of potential, but you're lacking action. And this is exactly what poverty loves. Lesson number 3.
We can always make more money than we need.
I look at this from the perspective of risk tolerance. We need to understand that there's inherent risk in any endeavor. New businesses, new side hustles, even your job has risk. And so we constantly stress ourselves out over making more money, taking the next step, or trying the new trend. But if we can understand that we can always make more money than we need, we can make our decisions a lot more level-headedly. Everyone has a baseline cushion that correlates to their base level skill. If I had little to no skill and I lived in the United States, I could get a job paying $15 an hour working at McDonald's. However, if I had a higher value skill, then maybe my baseline income would be $25 an hour. I want to drive home the idea that worst case scenario, we can always make more than we need. Let's look at the McDonald's example really quickly. If I work $40 a week at $15 an hour, that's $600 a week. With my first week of earnings, I would rent a room out. $600 is more than enough to just rent a room. You're not going to have a house or an apartment, but you can definitely rent one room out for $600. In week 2, I would use those $600 to pay for my month of food. $600 is plenty enough to pay for all the month of food. If you get 2 meals a day, $10 a meal, that's $20 a day times 30 days, $600 a month. Week 3 of earning could go towards any expenses that I might already have. Car payments, gas, subscription, insurance, whatever. And in week 4 of earning, you actually have $600 left over for you to invest in yourself. And if you haven't seen that video, watch this video here. So we need to understand that oftentimes our stress derives from ego. We worry about the perception of having to work at McDonald's and make $15 an hour. But what we should be more worried about is the perception of ourselves if we had never taken that bet on ourselves. And I would take that risk over and over again. But that brings us into lesson 4.
Fortunes are made by taking a lot of risk with a little bit of money, and fortunes are maintained by taking a little bit of risk with a lot of money.
So the amount of risk that you take should be correlated to how much money you have. And if you've already accumulated a high net worth or have some sort of assets, you have to understand that anything times zero equals zero. $1 billion net worth times zero equals zero. And if you're not a billionaire, like most of us aren't, don't worry, because being broke is actually an advantage. Being broke makes you dangerous because you have nothing to lose. And if you have nothing to lose, then you have everything to gain. So if you're broke, see this as an advantage, because remember, you can always make more money than you need. Lesson 5.
The biggest eroder of wealth is ignorance.
This is the single biggest expense that we have. The ignorance tax is for individuals with an IQ lower than 100 pay a tax on their income. Just kidding, that's not the tax, and if it was, I would be depressed. The ignorance tax is a concept that looks at the opportunity cost of knowledge. Not knowing how to make $1 million costs you whatever you make minus $1 million. If we're making $50,000 a year, not knowing how to make $1 million a year costs you $950,000 every single year. And you can do this with 1 million, 10 million, and 100 million. And so we have this ignorance tax in which we are charged for the knowledge we don't have. Therefore, it's extremely valuable that we pay off this ignorance debt as soon as possible, because the faster we get to knowing how to make $1 million a year, the faster we can be to making $1 million a year. Lesson 6.
Ignore money advice from poor people.
Firstly, it's important to understand this about advice in general. Understand that context matters, and people's advice is often based off of their own experience and their own context of life, which probably isn't relevant to your situation. And if they're people who genuinely care for you and want the best for you, they're not trying to give you the wrong advice, they just have their limited context through which they live their life. They have different experiences and different goals, so where they give advice stems from a different place. Oftentimes, without them even knowing it, they give you advice with their context, and it's often what they would do in your situation, not what you should do in your situation. So understand that advice is based off a person's experience, and it's hard to take advice, so you have to consider, why would you take financial advice from someone who isn't financially where you'd like to be? This is almost like taking marriage advice from someone who's divorced 3 times over. So be cautious of who you take advice from. Make sure they not only have your best interests at heart, but that they have the experience to back up what they say. Lesson 7.
Diversification is a hedge against ignorance.
So first, let's talk about what diversification is and why it's used. Diversification spreads investments over a variety of sectors, markets, and assets. And the point of doing so is to reduce risk. And risk derives from the potential of a potential future outcome. But when you're an expert in your field and you fully understand what needs to be done and exactly how to do it, you're less uncertain of potential future outcomes. And so it's not that you have less regard for risk, it's that risk itself is less relevant to you. So your competency gives you a competitive edge. It allows you to go all in on a certain opportunity. When you go all in, you spend more time in it, which therefore further increases your skill and competency. And over a long enough time frame, risk almost becomes irrelevant because you know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly what to look for. And it's why seasoned investors are able to make money on almost every single deal they do. They know what to look for, they know how to do it, and they know exactly how to execute it. But when you're not informed, you can't operate this way. Therefore, diversification is a hedge against ignorance. Bonus. Lesson 8.
Money flows where attention goes.
Money is jealous. It sticks to the person who pays it the most attention. Attention directs behavior. For example, let me direct your attention to the subscribe button. Jokes, but it really would be appreciated. But if we look at our attention, what we focus on has a powerful influence on our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And I've actually made an entire video talking about how powerful it is to create a millionaire identity, in which you can equip yourself with millionaire goggles that help you see the world full of opportunities that were invisible to you before. Watch this video here to find out how to unlock your millionaire goggles.